Hey guys, welcome back to Mindset Managed. This week I wanted to talk about our 20s. Now I'm in my 20s, I'm 24, so I'm nearly halfway, and I wanted to talk about how there seems to be this idea that life begins and ends in your 20s, right? Like, I don't know how old you are specifically, but I bet that either now or at one point in your life you thought that your life began and ended in your 20s. Because when you're under 20, you're a bit too young, you don't have that freedom, you don't have that money yet. But then when you're in your 20s, like, I've suddenly got this freedom, I've suddenly got money, and so I must do everything before I'm 30, because when you're 30, you're old, apparently. And obviously, like, any logical person knows how silly that is, because that means that your whole life is reduced down to just 10 years. So from when you're 20 to when you hit 30, that is your whole life, right? That's ridiculous. 10 years is, one, not enough time to do everything, and two, that means that you have, like, say you're going to live till you're 90. Let's be generous, let's say 90. So that means from 30 to 90, that's 60 years. 60 years of your life is just nothing. You have 60 years of your life where you're not going to do anything, where you're just going to be sad. Is that what we're saying? Is that what we're all agreeing to? I don't want to agree to that. I don't want to believe that, right? So I wanted to just talk and give yourselves some perspective, because we can all be so narrow-minded, and we can think that time is reduced to either what's right in front of us or what's behind us, or that it's so far that we don't want to think about it. Like, I don't think we ever can have an accurate perception of time. We either think we have too much or we think we have too little. And then when you think you have too much time, you can be a bit complacent and a bit lazy, and you don't take action, you don't do anything, because you're like, oh, I can do it tomorrow, oh, I can do it next year, and you just brush it off. But then it's equally as bad if you think that you have too little amount of time, because then you rush and you get anxious and you're like, oh my god, my life is running away from me, what do I do, panic, panic, panic. And that's not good either. So instead, I think we need to adopt this mindset that life is there, and it's okay, and we can breathe, but it's also not going to last forever. So it's basically to be aware of your mortality, but to also be aware of the abundance that life is. So to think about the fact that your life does not begin and end in your 20s, that when you cross over the threshold in your 30, you have still got so much time. There's so much that you can do, have, and be. That when you become 40, there is still so much time, so much that you can do, have, and be. 50, 60, 70, 80, the same agrees. The same is true for that. I want to use the example of my grandma, my nan. I think she's 82, 3, something like that. And she is living life. Like, she has a walking group that she goes to, she has a knitting group, she has church, she even goes to Tai Chi. My nan is doing things, guys. She has gardening that she does with my granddad as well. She has friends that she meets up with. She's always at the family party. She stays later than the rest of us. She'll have a dance. Like, my nan is amazing. And she doesn't let the fact that she's an old lady stop her from trying new things, from doing new things, right? Like, we've had conversations about food and cooking, and she's like, oh, I've not tried that, and then next week she'll try it. Because life doesn't end just because you're older, or even when you're definitely old. Like, she is an old woman, but she is beautiful, and she realizes that life is to be lived at no matter what age you are, no matter what mobility you have, no matter if you have kids and responsibilities. That doesn't mean that your life should end. Sure, there's certain things that might be restricted or a little bit harder once you get older or once you have more responsibility, but that doesn't mean that your life ends. That doesn't mean that you should give up. That doesn't mean you should stop having goals or dreams or doing big things. Like, my mom has just started to travel properly again. Like, she did it when she was younger a bit, but now she's starting to do it again, and she's 55, right? Because yes, sometimes you might have to take a pause, and because she was a single mother, she never had my dad around, he passed away when I was young, then that meant that she did have to sacrifice a lot. She never really had the money or the time to go on holidays, but she did take us away when she could. We went to Jersey all the time, we went to Spain. Like, she did what she could, and she didn't let the fact that life was hard stop her from living it. She got her degree across I think it was 9 years it took her to get her degree, but she didn't let that stop her from having it. She wanted to do it. It's something that she wanted to achieve, and so she did it. Even though it took long, even though it was hard, she did it, and now she has a better job for it. So if there are things that you want to do, if there are things that you want to be, if there are things that you want to taste and try, then don't think that you have to do it all in your 20s, because let's pretend that it's possible to do it all in your 20s. If you do, that means the rest of your life's going to be pretty boring. It means that you have nothing left to achieve, nothing left to experience, because you've done it all before. So that's really quite boring, isn't it? So I think we all need to breathe for a second, realise that life is longer than we think, or that life is shorter than we think, if you have that mindset. And to just realise that we could do, be, or have anything that we want at any stage in life, at any walk in life. That there isn't a year that happens that once you become a certain age or a certain stage in your life, that your life has ended, or that you can't ever do and have or be anything else or new or bigger after that. That is really limiting, guys, and that is a mindset that I do not want you to be in. That is a belief that I do not want you to have. It is summer. We are going to believe in the big abundance of life, because that is what life is. There's so much. There's always another year. There's always another year. There's always another task, another goal, another place to visit, another person to meet, another thing to do, another way to grow. And to think about the abundance and the beauty of it is to not be overwhelmed, but instead to be inspired, to realize that you can do anything, because not because you have to do it right now, but because you have the time to do and be anything. Yes, we can die at any stage in our lives. We don't know when our last moment will be, but believing that you have to do it all right now is overwhelming, and it makes you feel like you need to compare your life to people. It means you need to worry that life's passing you by. Instead, as long as you're doing things, as long as you're taking action with intention, real authentic intention, then you're fine. You're good. You have time. And I promise you'll have the life that you've always wanted. When you look back on your deathbed, hopefully you're old and you've lived a good life, and you're going to look back and you're going to be like, yeah, see, I did a really good life. I did loads of things. I became the best person that I could be over a long span of time. Not just in my 20s, not a whole 60, 70 years ago, but instead last week I did something great, you know? When I was 60, I did something great. When I was 70, I did something great. Life is big. It is big, 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 big. The world is big. It's big, 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 big. But if you keep making it small, if you keep putting that timer on, if you keep thinking that you can't achieve unless you achieve right now, then you are going to lose. So that's the mindset shift that I want you to have today. Take it away, use it, make sure your life is full through every stage and every walk, because that is how you live the best life. Not right now. Not just right now. So consider that mindset managed. Take care, guys.